It is Thursday, November 4th, and there's a few brand new Switch stories we need to talk about today, starting with a surprise trailer that dropped from Nintendo as a tribute to the entire 2D Metroid saga, and it is an incredible one, so I definitely want to share it with you guys. Then we also have to cover an update around the Switch shortage as we walk forward into the holiday season, because it does look like this will be extremely hard to find. Then I also want to tell you guys about a surprise update that went live for a particular Mario game that now will include NSO N64 Controller support, and the big talking point for today's video is some great news specifically around 2022's lineup for Nintendo and Breath of the Wild 2. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, as I mentioned, guys, we actually have quite a few different stories to get through today, and I want to kick it off with a surprise tribute trailer that went live from Nintendo around the Metroid 2D saga, specifically 1 through 5, which now that Dread is out, it does complete this story arc, and of course, we will not be talking about any spoilers here, and I really don't even want to talk about what's in the trailer. I just want to actually encourage you guys to go watch it, and I will definitely have a link to it directly in the description down below. So once you are done with this video, hop over to Nintendo's page and enjoy this trip down memory lane. Specifically, if you are a long-term fan of the franchise, hearing all of the themes from the different 1 through 5 installments is fantastic, and then you just kind of get to see some of the story arc pieces and how it sets up everything to ultimately come together in Dread. So it's a super great trailer. It's exactly like 5 minutes long if I'm not mistaken, and the other thing it did for me is just get me more and more hyped for the Metroid Prime upcoming installments. As you know, Prime 4 will eventually be here, and the big hope and talking point is just that maybe by some miracle Nintendo will release Metroid Prime Trilogy HD on the Switch, or maybe release them individually as remakes, as we're seeing some rumors around. However they do it, they definitely need to give us the ability to play Metroid Prime 1 through 3 before 4 comes out. So that is my big Christmas wish list for this year as we walk into 2022, because I just think the fans have to go back and experience those Metroid games, because it's hard to believe, but we're actually approaching about 20 years since the original release of Metroid Prime, and there's just clearly a whole new generation of gamers that have grown up in that time that need to go back and experience the classics before Prime 4 gets here. But if you are a fan of 2D Metroid, or maybe you're someone new to Metroid altogether from Dread's release, it is definitely worth a watch. So make sure you go check that trailer out after this video and share your thoughts on what you hope we see from Nintendo for the future of the Metroid franchise in the comments down below. Now, the next thing I want to share with you all today is actually an update from a story we talked about briefly yesterday due to some reporting that suggested that Nintendo would indeed face some supply constraints this holiday season, and the encouragement from me would be, if you are on the hunt for a Switch console for yourself or a loved one this holiday season, to start go ahead and looking right now, because it does appear that this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And to start off this conversation, I want to quickly hop over to VGC, where there is some official statements from Nintendo's president himself, as they did just have their investors meeting go live, and so we now have some translations from that, and we need to talk about the potential shortage of Switch consoles as we walk forward into the holiday season. Nintendo has conceded it won't be able to meet Switch demand this holiday. They're quoted here saying, "We can't produce enough to meet the demand we are expecting." Nintendo has said it will be unable to meet Switch demand this holiday season as its production efforts continue to be hampered by the global semiconductor shortage. In a press briefing following the publication of the company's second quarter results on Thursday, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa said he saw no end in sight to the supply issues. "We can't produce enough to meet the demand we are expecting during the upcoming holiday season," he said via Reuters. "Currently, there is no sign of improvement, and the situation continues to be severe, so I can't say how long it will continue." So again, I really just wanted to update you guys around this, because we now have confirmation from Nintendo themselves that obviously Switch will be in tight supply all the way through the foreseeable future. And you know, I hope it gets better sooner rather than later, but you know what happens whenever Black Friday hits and Christmas shopping goes into overdrive. So if you are somebody who's going to want a Switch or Switch OLED console in the upcoming months, again, I would start checking on them now, and you probably will have to sign up for some retail stock trackers, maybe Wario Mario64 on Twitter with notifications on in order to actually see these consoles in hand when they do go live, because what we typically see is retailers start to sell out, and we then see the restock shift to an online only type of format. So I don't know that that's exactly what will happen with the Switch situation, but I would say if it's anything near as bad as what the Xbox Series X and PS5 are seeing as far as supply shortages, you can definitely expect to have to watch for online surprise restock drops in order to secure your Switch this holiday season. So let me know in the comments down below if you're someone who will be hunting for this in the upcoming months, or if you're happy with your Switch lineup right now and you're not planning on upgrading to the OLED, or maybe you don't have anybody else to buy one for. So please share all your thoughts and feelings on all things around the semiconductor shortage and the supply shortage for the Switch this holiday season in the comments down below. Now, the next story is actually some good news that I was looking forward to hopefully seeing, but I wasn't sure if Nintendo would actually do it, and it appears they have, and that is the fact that they went back and patched Mario 3D All-Stars Collection to be compatible with the N64 Nintendo Switch Online controller, and that's something that I wanted to see done because as I have experienced a lot of the NSO ROMs so far, they are not quite as good of a version of what we saw Mario 3D All-Stars treatment get whenever that was released. So I figured that when I was wanting to replay Super Mario 64, that I would want to do so with the N64 controller, but I actually would prefer to go back and play it on the Mario 3D All-Stars collection as opposed to the ROM as it stands right now on the expansion pack. So you will now officially have the ability to do this. Now, a couple takeaways is that it is only compatible with Mario 3D All-Stars with Super Mario 64 itself. It is not button mapped correctly for Mario Sunshine or Mario Galaxy, and I actually will have to do some testing on how that really works, because I don't know if you can try to use it with the game, but it's just kind of weird, or if it just really won't work on those other two games at all. But at least for right now, you can actually boot up Mario 64 on the 3D All-Stars collection pack and go ahead and use your N64 controller. And we also got some sales data on Mario 3D All-Stars, and it's already cleared over 9 million. So Nintendo did kind of do a controversial decision with this game and do a limited run release, and it was literally in their investor meeting they called out that it is the fear of missing out strategy, and they're saying it worked for them. So while it is unfortunate that down the line this game will eventually become harder to find, you're still not out of luck if you are a physical collector right now, because I still see this thing on retail shelves, even though I think they were supposed to be pulled back in the day whenever I think it was the end of March or April when this game was supposed to be pulled off retail shelves, but I think the retailers that have them just want to get through all the additional stock. So you can probably easily go find this game still, but you will not be able to digitally download it. So let me know if you guys are pumped for this N64 controller update in the comments down below, and if you personally notice any differences in the quality of the ROM between the NSO expansion pack version and the Mario 3D All-Stars collection. Now, the last story I want to share with you all today will be one that is a big sigh of relief for Zelda fans out there, as if you know and you've been around on the channel for a while, you will know that Zelda is one of my all-time favorite series, and while we've been patiently awaiting the release of Breath of the Wild 2, there has been a lot of talk and discussion online about whether this would indeed be a 2022 game or if it would be slided to 2023, as Mr. Aonuma at Nintendo's E3 Direct presentation said we are aiming for a 2022 release, which got, of course, a lot of fans talking about the fact that maybe this will be a end of 2022 game, or that it could even get kicked into 2023. But I do want to start off this conversation around the reassurance that we are going to see it in 2022 over at Nintendo Life, because they did do a good job typing up a little article around what happened at this investor meeting and the fact of why we can actually still expect Breath of the Wild 2 to currently be a 2022 scheduled release. Nintendo reconfirms release windows for major upcoming Switch games. Breath of the Wild 2 still on track. As part of Nintendo's latest financial report, the company has published an updated look at its upcoming release schedule. Below you will find a list of Nintendo's major releases planned for the end of 2021 and beyond. The updated info confirms that Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is still on track for a release in 2022, as well as other highly anticipated titles like Splatoon 3 and Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, and that Metroid Prime 4 is still TBA. Note that the report also reminds us of Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp's delay into spring 2022. So the software list reads as followed, starting with Shin Megami Tensei 5 on a November 12th release. And if you guys have not seen some of the review scores that are out there for that game so far, definitely check them out. It sounds like this is going to be one of the best installments in the franchise so far, and I will be very excited to check it out as my first Shin Megami Tensei game. Then of course we have Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl on the 19th of November, Big Brain Academy Brain vs. Brain on December 3rd, Pokemon Legends Arceus on January 28th, Triangle Strategy on March 4th, Kirby and the Forgotten Land in spring of 2022, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp in spring of 2022, Splatoon 3 in 2022, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild still slated for a 2022 release, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope also 2022, Bayonetta 3 2022, and of course Metroid Prime is to be announced. So we do not know what Metroid Prime schedule is going to look like, and I would still anticipate that to not be a 2022 game. Just to be honest with you guys, at the time of filming this video, I think they are going to take their sweet time with that installment. But again, for Legend of Zelda fans out there, it at least is sounding like currently, according to Nintendo's plans, they are expecting the sequel to Breath of the Wild to come out in 2022. And I personally think that's great news. I am very ready to play this game. We still don't have the title of the game, and that caused some fans to think too they're not quite as far along, but it was stated in an interview earlier in the year that that was due to story spoilers, and they don't want us to really know what may be going on in this game quite yet. And if I'm a betting man, I would say that Nintendo's trying to get this thing ready to go at the end of 2022, maybe for something like a fall release, and in the 2022 E3 Direct presentation, that this is the big blowout game that maybe closes the show and also maybe gets some Treehouse hands-on gameplay as we ramp up and get closer to that fall release. And of course, with Zelda games, there is a long history of delays because they don't rush them, and rightfully so. If we do end up waiting till 2023, that is perfectly fine with me. I have full faith in the Zelda development team that they are going to give us a polished, fantastic experience, and I don't think that we don't have to worry regardless, because if they do push it to 2023, maybe we will get some filler titles in between, such as Twilight Princess HD or Wind Waker HD ported over to the Switch, which I'm still holding out a grain of hope for. But either way, I thought that this was very reassuring for Zelda fans out there. If you're waiting for more footage, I'm sure we will see it at next year's either February Nintendo Direct or by the latest E3 Nintendo Direct. So it sounds like there's more Zelda news to come, and I do want to hear from you guys on your thoughts on really all the stories we covered today, but specifically let me know where your hype level's at for Breath of the Wild 2, when you think we will see the next trailer or gameplay footage, and if you do think that it will indeed come out in the year of 2022, or if you could see Nintendo actually pushing this one back to a 2023 release. So please share all your thoughts and feelings on all the stories we covered today in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.